have some news I'm going to share. Haven't been quite well enough this week to share about a very exciting box that arrived, but today I have a bit more energy and I feel better because yesterday I had blood out. So today I can share it with you because I'm very excited about this. So I got this, have a look, massive box arrived, and inside the massive box is something really exciting, and here it is. Are you ready? So this is the Chelsea Green edition of my book, and this is very, very exciting. And literally, this is the first time I'm looking at it, so I'm doing all of this in front of the camera. So this is all very genuine. So I'm having a look at the what it feels like. It feels absolutely lovely. It feels really nice. I always like a brand new book when it's come in a box like that. And they've given it a pretty amazing subtitle. Actually, there's lots of space on the front here. And so they've said, take control of your recovery and maximise healing potential. And I love that they did that, actually, because that's exactly what I wanted to do with this book right from the beginning. It was never about pretending that there's a cure, or pretending to give any treatments, or pretending to making no claims whatsoever. And I get really fed up with people who claim that they're curing us and claim that they're fixing us. They're really not. But what I tried to do with this book was to help other people feel empowered by taking control of our own health. And that's what I've really tried to do here. And Chelsea Green really understood that. The editors there really understood that when they put this together, and maximise healing potential. So this is about getting your physical state, your emotional state, your psychological state, getting everything into the best state it can possibly be in to allow our bodies to do everything that it can to try and heal itself. Because we might not necessarily be the same as we were before, but I think that I still believe this, that our bodies can do an awful lot to put ourselves on the right path to becoming as well as we possibly can. And the other little kind of, what would you call a subtitle? Okay, subtitle, the second bit there. It says, understand the practical and emotional impact of your symptoms and learn to organise every step of your health management. And again, they completely got it. They completely understood that was exactly what I was trying to do with this book. And I think when we do that, when we kind of take control of the situation that we're in, and we're slightly less dependent on other people with coming up with the answers, I think that's a really important part of healing, actually. And I learnt this with the work that I did in the northeast of Japan, that people who have been in a very difficult situation where their power's been taken away from them, that, you know, in that case it was with the tsunami, and with us this is with our health. A big part of that is taking control of our situation, taking control of the situation that we find ourselves in. That's a really big part of healing, and that's a really big part of helping us find confidence again, and to try to rebuild our lives, just whatever that may be, even if we don't have all the answers. But the fact that we're the ones making those decisions is a really important part of healing, I think. Now, what's different about the original edition from this, and between this and the original edition that I made, there's a fantastic introduction or foreword, or there's a fantastic section in the beginning here by Dr. Christian Buckland, who provides psychological support for UKCV Family, which is the British vaccine injury support group. So he's written an amazing, I was really touched actually, he really understood it, and he's written a really interesting foreword to the Chelsea Green edition. And I've given an update. So the bit at the beginning of the book, which is about my story, I realised after I brought out my own edition that people wanted to know a bit more about what happened to me, and I'm very public about it. It's all on Facebook. It's I blog about it a lot, but people wanted to see a little bit more here, so I've given it an update. It's what's added to it is what's happened to me since the first edition came out. So I brought the first edition out on the first anniversary, so the 3rd of March 2022, so my 1 year anniversary. So there's a lot happened. It's been a year and a half on top of that now, so it's 2.5 years that I've been dealing with the adverse reaction. So, and I've learned so much, continue to learn things all the time. So I put a bit of that in there. And what this book does, what I wanted it to do, and what it still does, is give you a framework within which you can manage your own health and manage the information that you find out. There's so much information out there, even more information out there now, and it can be really overwhelming. So what food am I supposed to be eating? What am I not supposed to be eating? What am I supposed to be doing with what consultants are actually helpful and what consultants are not helpful? There's so many different elements of it, what research is being done, what research isn't being done. And in the middle of all of this, you get really bombarded with people who, they share quite scary information, actually. I find a lot of information out there to be quite scary, in the same way that I feel that our government shared information about COVID in itself and made that feel very scary. So I feel like there's still an awful lot of fear out there related to COVID and related to the vaccines, and it can be quite hard to kind of work your way through all of that, and to put that in a framework. And what this is supposed to do is to help you really focus on what are the things that really matter, what are the things that are going to be relevant to me, because we're all different, all of us are different, and there are lots of people out there who claim this is fixing all of the vaccine injured. It's not, it's really not. But there are things out there that might help you, because we're all different. There are things that help me that might not help other people, and it's important for us to be able to organise all of that information in one place, put it in one place, and to keep focusing on that rather than get kind of distracted by lots of different information from lots of different sources. So it goes, if you haven't had a chance to have a look at the book before, then there are, let me just go through the first little bit here. There are 6 chapters. So the first one's about sleep, and sleep is for not just to do with vaccine injury, but to do with anything really. If you've got anything going on, a physical health issue or emotional health issue, any kind of difficult time, sleep is key, really big, really key to helping with recovery. Chapter 2 is all about food, so it goes through the different nutritional plans that a lot of vaccine injured people have found really helpful, and a lot of people, even with other health issues, actually, there's different food plans that can be really helpful. So it explains those in a very simple way. Sometimes I find a lot of things to do with nutrition completely overwhelming, and I wanted to just create things in a present things in a very simple way. I remember being so overwhelmed with information, particularly in the early months, before my brain started working a little bit better than it does now. Then chapter 3 is about symptoms, and that's about how to manage those symptoms and how to manage the treatments that might be helpful for you. And again, we are all really different, so this is just about how you can organise the things that are working for you. Chapter 4 is about stress, and I completely reframed stress because I find stress to be a very triggering, it's actually quite a stressful word. Stress is a stressful word. So I've reframed that and talk instead I talk about fear, and that's something that comes up quite a lot actually amongst conversations with the vaccine injured, and that's something sometimes I still have to deal with that too. Just because I'm 2.5 years on doesn't mean that I don't revisit a lot of the topics that are in here actually. And fear is something that still occasionally I need to feel that I need to deal with that. Chapter 5 is about consultants. I have had a mixture of I suppose modern and traditional consultants that I've dealt with, and I find myself a bit more comfortable with the traditional ones now. After doing this for 2.5 years, I found the traditional healing methods to work a bit better for me. But again, this explains all the different kinds of consultants that are out there, different kinds of healing practices that are there. There are different specialists that you might sometimes get referrals to, or feel that you want to look at those referrals, and this helps you organise all of those. It helps you organise appointments, helps you organise how to deal with when you feel dismissed by some consultants and medical professionals too. There's even ways in there to deal with that. And then chapter 6, this is about connections. And connections is something that continues to be really, really important all the way through it. And it's important to have ways to deal with connections that sometimes aren't always going to be those connections. When I mean people, and I mean people here, those connections aren't always going to be very kind. And we've had to find ways to deal with those unkind interactions that we've had with people. Sometimes it's important to disconnect. We need to learn how to do that. It's available on Amazon today. It's been available in pre-order before, but it's available on Amazon. It's available in bookstores, and I hope that you find this to be a source of kindness and something that will help you get through a very difficult time.